Well, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. This is the beginning of the 5th week. And how are you doing in other classes? Just okay? Networking is troubling. That's what they're supposed to do. Kevin, right? No.
You want us to have somebody review our ILP, then we're supposed to scan it and upload it, right?
That's
So where's the scanner if they don't have one at the library?
use your smartphone and take a photo. Hey, that works. Yeah, sometimes I have answers. Aaron, how's your semester going?
Semester's going very well.
Which class give you the most pleasure?
But let's say
Classes.
so far, I've always say human networking.
Networking, okay. So he enjoys the trouble and you don't like it. Okay. Any other class that you have issues or let me know, okay? Good. So today we're going to finish all our faculty presentation. At 12:30, Kevin Cahill going to come and talk about her expertise in web design, which is a very popular CD emphasis. Many computer science students also take the web design class because the hot job today is using, say, Python or using PHP to produce websites or web app for, say, Facebook or all kind of startup company in San Francisco and San Jose are hiring a lot of our graduates doing web programming. So you need to know a bit about web design, and definitely you need to know a lot about programming and maybe a little bit of database. Question?
If it is okay, what was that organization that you were showing around the university?
So we have 8 postdoc researchers from Beijing. They want to do some cultural and technology and management comparison between China and United States. And they run things very differently. Even I was born and raised there, I was like, wow, we do that? Yeah, so let me give you an example. You see all of them, that's why I have to have the time. When I visited there, I went to a research institute. If you, in the United States, you go to a kind of campus or research institute, you couldn't tell who's the kind of the CEO or the boss or the one the intern just hired. They look the same. They look all like Michael. Casual and cool. But if you go to China, I went to this medical research institute. There's 4 of us walking, right? We are walking, and there is a little Q secretary in her high heel walk behind us. And we walk, and towards that narrow door. Naturally, the one with the highest rank would go to the front, and 4 of us, because I'm a guest, I would walk second, then maybe the vice director and the researcher. And that little Q secretary would run to open the door, and we would just walk out, and she would close the door, and then follow us behind. I was like, wow, you do that here? Usually I open the door for students. They say, no. What shocks me is that her comment is that we have ethics here. Wow, how does that relate to ethics? Anyway, it's one example. So yeah, we got more and more exchange with China, and Nicole went to Taiwan and speak Chinese quite well, right? Okay, so we're going to finish with web design, and Kevin also going to talk about the CD ILP. The CD ILP was just revised slightly. I'm going to show you on the web. Then towards the end, we have Dr. Yangjun Liang to talk about our last faculty presentation, talk about software engineering. Okay. And these 2 areas, web and the software, are kind of the hot market right now. And Jacob Huser, I talked about earlier, that is our graduate. He is the web architect for LinkedIn. We're going to try to invite him in early November to talk to us what happened to him. Okay. He stayed here not too long ago. He was a minimum wage TA for a couple of years. And boom, within 2 years, he's the chief web architect for LinkedIn. I don't know what happened. So I want to find out what happened to him also. And so that's a little commercial for our future. And today we're going to talk about two other issues. One is we're going to try to spend only about 20-25 minutes to talk about a very, very basic idea of project management. My hope is that you get some basic idea and you will use that project management skills in running your final presentation project, okay? And that will be our next topic in our your final project. In this class, we call the capstone research. Your team, if your team is less than four or lower, you will pick either present on the YouTube or present here. If your team is more than 4, that means 5 or above, you have to do both. You will present here for about 8 minutes, and you have to produce a not too boring YouTube video introduced to the same topic. Okay, so that's the final project. So that's our plan. Any objection? Good, that's our agenda. So let's do So there will be a bit of confusing for the ILP process because we have two groups of faculty. The computer science faculty want a more structured process. That means you need to have your computer science ILP field. Find one of the students here and also in computer science, hopefully in your team. Have that person review it against the checklist. If that's okay, then you upload it following the instruction on the iLearn. Then the TA will make arrangement to have you come in. She will talk to you, review your ILP. The last step is that she will set out an appointment between you and the computer science faculty to finally approve your ILP. That's for computer science. For CD, we have one last step. You produce the ILP, upload it, and you will be assigned to a faculty right away. Okay. If you have a longer question, we have TA to help you, but you can talk to the faculty right away. So let me show you the list of faculty that will guide you. You've probably seen this from last time. Okay, let me do maybe some of you remember, let me do a quick quiz. In computer science, you will be randomly assigned to different computer science faculty, but there is one faculty that's expertise in networking, and that is Satya Narayana. Okay, there is one faculty focused on software engineering, and that is Dr. Byung. There is one person in charge of game development, that is Kay Lockwood. We have one last concentration, information system, because no faculty are hired into that line, so I will be the person to help if you want to focus on database. So I'm the one going to help you with the information system concentration. Good. How about the CD side? We have 3 key faculty members, one in charge of the visual design, that is Bobby Long. We have a web design, Kevin Cahill is going to present today, and we have the interactive media and animation, that is Pat Watson. Okay, Pat Watson. So these, including me, this 8 key faculty, one of them will work with you and approve your learning plan. So now let me show you kind of I think this is a bit out of date. Ben Errington left us, and he is now in Berkeley. So we have a metrics. So many of us can advise many different type of project. In addition to the one I just told you, you can, for example, you really like, say, Bobby Long. She can help you not only with the visual design, she can probably help you with the web design. So there's a list. This document is on our iLearn. You can take a look over last week, advisor expertise list. Okay, so You might want to take some time. We have quite a few faculty that is now our key faculty, but if you have questions, you can always go to the event. For example, you are Jeremy, what's your major?
Computer science.
Computer science, what concentration?
Networking.
Networking. Let's say he is dying to know more about animation. Feel free to make an appointment. I'm not going to do a Ken Watson, and he knows a lot about animation and game design. He's teaching the class using Unity. You might have some interesting idea using network, either design a game for networking or how to network support a massive online. There's a name for it. What's that? That's right, online multiplayer. And there's a new game called Borderland. Do you recommend that to my 12-year-old boy?
No. Too violent. Way too violent.
His birthday is coming out. I already bought it, but I can't return it. He said he really wanted it, but I look it online and say, mature. What's that? Really?
Everyone explodes in it.
I will check. That, you know, that's a difficult part as a father of a young boy right now. You know, you want him to be free and do wonderful things, but we have some game or media that is just make him a mass murderer 20 years from now. Okay. Thank you. So the sentiment is mixed. Just to tell you why project management is important and what are the 3 key methods to do project management well. And my hope is that you employ some of the idea in your own project this semester. So what this simple story goes is that, you know, a client comes to your team and say, I need you to do a project. Okay? And the reason why the client comes to you instead of doing it himself is that he probably doesn't have much idea. So your marketing department say, you are a CEO, the marketing department say, I listened to the customer. I think what they want is two wire and have some boards connect to the wire and tie to a tree. So the marketing say that's the customer wants, okay? And the sales is the next step in that project and say, so the project specs it, a few lines, a few wires, and connect to a board and tie to a tree. So that's the order. The engineer look at the spec, right? The spec say we have a couple lines, couple wires, bind to a board and connect to a tree. So that's your software engineer build something like that. Then when people actually implement the data, they say, well, yeah, we follow the spec. This is exactly what the customer wants. And so of course, when we deliver to the customer, they say, wait, I want this thing to swing. So they do it. They put in expensive support, cut the tree open, and say, hey, now the slide swings. The customer just want a cheap tire so the kids can enjoy. So what went wrong in this project? The very last row, Susan. Hey, you think you can escape this? So what went wrong in this project? Other people want to rescue her. What went wrong?
Lack of communication.
That's good. Okay, lack of communication is number 1. If you look at all the project, the number 1 issue project fail is the lack of communication. Anything else? Anything else is wrong?
Maybe
Good.
there wasn't a problem.
What's your plate? What's your name?
Usman.
Guzman.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this?
Maybe there was not a prototype that the client look at and be like.
So
okay,
if someone actually draw just on paper 5 minutes a prototype, show to the customer and say, is that what you want? That solves a lot of problems, right?
Yeah.
So it's also part of communication. Okay. So I also will add, one problem is all these people, all these nice people in engineering, sales, marketing, they don't know the true need of their customer, right? If they do know, the kids do know the customer's nature, culture, or need, then they look at the spec on paper, they should come out with a better picture. But it also come back to kind of communication. So many tools in project management is to make sure communication is efficient, consistent, and probably in some kind of writing form that agreed upon. Okay, so keep that in mind. Project management, one of the major issue is to make sure the communication is clear.
I want to add that.
Jim?
Planning and research will help them out a lot.
Absolutely.
We'll figure out if they have research. That's not going to work right.
Good. Jim, since you're talking, can you read why project management is, well, can you read the point number 1 to number 4 so we can follow you? Can you read
Nice
it?
if it was not a good background, but I'll do my best. Project management is too small a task.
It's no small task.
There's no small task. And project management has a definite beginning and end. It is not a continuous process. Thank you. Process management uses various management tools to accomplish and track project tasks. These include Gantt and PERT charts.
We'll talk about those tools. Good.
Projects frequently use resources on an add-on basis as opposed to organizations who have full-time positions.
So these are kind of the unique thing about a project. Okay? So if you work for, say, Starbucks, if you work at Starbucks and your work is to check out the coffee, that itself is not a project because it's continuous. It never ends, right? So your goal is to make that process as efficient as possible. But a project, by definition, is that there is a beginning, a clear beginning and clear end. And in the middle, you need to produce a product or service that is of value to someone. Okay, so your study in this university is a project, right? It has a beginning, it has the end, and the product is Mario. What do you get in this huge project you spend time here? What do you get? You produce a portfolio. That's good. If you walk out of here 2 years with a portfolio, are you happy? You want the portfolio get you a job. You want a degree, right? The degree is a major thing that although it's a piece of paper, but it's an important evidence that you achieved something. You have a degree, you have a skill, you have a portfolio. Okay. So if you think about project management, you always want to think about there is a unique product or service you produce in that project. And project management is particularly important to you guys, to your discipline, well, our discipline, CD and CSIT. Pedro, why is that? Take a guess. Why is project management, that concept is particularly important for the people in this room?
Because once you get to the real world, it allows you to manage your time.
Very good, close, but I'm going to look for something else. Chris?
Because most of the time, as programmers, we're going to be working on projects.
Okay. That's good. So for you, either you are in design or you are in networking, if you are in software, the nature of your job is produce project after project. You finish one project, you move on to the next. System administration, for example, probably is not as project oriented because you continue to on and on and on, right? But for most of us, designing a network, put together a website, do a visual design, produce an app, these are clearly clearly a project that has a beginning, has an end, and in the middle you produce that unique product or service. And typically, the project is done by a person or by a team. Typically by a team, right? Not too easy. You don't have to answer. I can answer that. And at the end of the project, what happened to the team members? Let me say I'm going to pick someone that doesn't have a name tag, the twin with on my right side. Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, the question is that at the end of the project, what happened to the members?
They presented? Or-
They presented, yeah, but the presenting is done. So what happened to them? Are they all fired?
They work on other projects?
They work on other projects. So the kind of unique difficulty for a project is that you, at the beginning, you gather all these people. They might from different department or from different degree, have a different culture. They have to put it together in a short time, and you have to start producing something. And at the end, they disappear. They go back to their engineering department, marketing department, or even other company. So a unique difficulty is that in project management, which you will face in this class, is that you have to deal with diverse set of people. And they come for the project and leave at the end of the project. And do you, if you are a project leader, can you fire them from their job? Can Pielma, if she is the say team leader in this class, and Jeremy is the team member, and Poama doesn't like Jeremy, can she say, Jeremy, you're out of this school? No. So often you have to deal with people that you have no authority in your project. And that makes the project even more difficult. You have to somehow convince them. You have to be nice to them. You have to convince them this is going to be important for their job or important for their future. So a personal skill is important in project management. We are going to continue this, but I want to keep in your mind two things. Project management skill is important, and it is a set of skills that especially important to you because the nature of our profession, be it CD or CSID, is project-based. Okay? We will start, and now it's 12:30. We will invite Professor Kevin Cahill to introduce himself, his expertise, his classes, and the individual learning plan of the communication design major. So Kevin is one of the pillars of the School of ITC. His professional experience working on major outside of in Washington D.C. His art skill in photography and typography, and his expertise in web design was very impressive to me. And so today, I'm happy that he's come here to take about half an hour. About half an hour. So introduce himself, the web design, and the learning plan for CE. Let's welcome Professor Kevin Cahill.
So, hello again. Thanks for the warm welcome. That was nice. It was interesting hearing Dr. Tao talk about project management. I was almost late here because I am working on a project for a Silmar that's about 2 months behind. And if I had better project management, we'd only be about a week behind, I think. But I think the one thing that you may not have mentioned is that you rarely are working on one project at a time, especially if you're working in an organization. So I've got probably like 5 or 6 big projects that I've got on my plate right now, and juggling them all is really a challenge, especially, and that's why you need good project management. So anyway, I have been at CSUMB since 1999, I think. since a long time. And I've been teaching in the web design program or in charge of the web design program for about 8 years now. But longer than that, I've been teaching the ethics course, and probably most of you will, all of you will eventually have the ethics course. And then this semester, I am teaching both CST 400 and 401. We've got 52 students in the capstone class, the 400 class right now, which is, I think, the largest group we've ever had. So that's pretty exciting. And the good news is that I will no longer be teaching capstone after this year, because it's a killer for everyone. So my background is I've got a BA from Chico State in visual design. When I was a student at Chico, it was Playboy's #1 party school in the country. And they just had their poll came out this week, and thank God there's no CSU school in the list. But I got my master's, my MFA from Cranbrook Academy of Art in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, also in design. As Dr. Town mentioned, one of the biggest clients that I've been working with since I've been at CSUMB is the Spy Museum, International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. How many people have been to the Spy Museum? Okay, about 5 or 6 people. If you're ever in D.C., you should definitely go to it. It's a very cool museum. This was the website that we redesigned for them about 8 years ago, and it has since been replaced by another design, which I am no longer in charge of, thank God. But I'm still doing a lot of print work and work for their educational staff. Pieces like this that go out to teachers in typically middle school and high school that prepare students for trips to the museum ahead of time, gives them little specific projects to work on, allows them to be a spy or to take on the characteristics of a famous spy in history. Another one, this is on the Cuban Missile Crisis. So, my interests, as Dr. Tao again says, got my speech memorized by now. I'm really into photography, and I like taking pictures of faces, especially faces and type. I'll talk about that in a second. That's about it. This summer, I went on a road trip to the Four Corners area of Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. And this is one of the places that we visited called Antelope Canyon. And pretty excited about the photos that I took there. Those of you that know me well know that I have an obsession about chairs. I've been collecting chairs for probably 30 years now. Part of it's because of where I went to grad school, Cranbrook. Cranbrook has probably produced more significant American industrial designers and architects than any other school. And in fact, all 3 of these chairs that we taught were designed in the 40s and 50s by students who were at Cranbrook. They weren't designed as students. They came after they entered their professional careers. But I want to talk about the first set. You all seen that chair before? Anyone know what they're called?
Isn't it the Herman Miller chair?
Actually, those are Knoll chairs. The one on the right is a Herman Miller chair. No. The one on the left is called the tulip chair or the pedestal chair. It's designed by an architect by the name of Eero Saarinen. You all familiar with the St. Louis Arch? Okay. Saarinen was commissioned to do that monument as well. I like this chair for one reason. It really represents good design thinking. It actually was quite revolutionary in that no chair had looked like this prior to the late 40s and early 50s when this was prototyped. What's the obvious difference between this chair and all the chairs that preceded it? It has one leg. Good. And Saarinen was actually trying to solve the problem of clutter. When you get a bunch of chairs around a dining table, there's not as much space as there could be. So he was in search of a more efficient form. And that's what he came up with, and it's become probably one of the most famous chairs in the world. It's very Jetsons looking, very kind of modern looking, but even though it's like 60 years old, it still looks like it's a new, fresh design, which is cool. My second obsession is mid-century architecture. These are houses in Palm Springs. But again, these houses look the way they do and were revolutionary when they came about because houses hadn't looked like this before. Houses hadn't had floor-to-ceiling glass, hadn't incorporated the outside into the design of the house as much as these houses do. So I'm obsessed with mid-century architecture. My other favorite thing to do when I got the camera in hand is to take pictures of type, especially type on buildings, big surprise. So these are some trips. This was Moscow on the bottom left, and I think that was Scotland, if we're right. So, because I'm in charge of the web design program, I'm in charge of all the web capstones. Show of hands, how many people in here are in the web emphasis? Okay, about almost a couple dozen, that's great. So we've been trying to raise the bar in the capstones, especially in the web ones. And one of the things that we've been doing the last 2 years is that all of our web capstones now are designed for both desktops, tablets, and mobile phone devices. And they're all built in Drupal, which is a content management system that's open source and the industry standard. Why are we doing that? Because we've been looking at places like Monster.com and all the websites that are are out there for employment, and almost every web job right now is asking for experience skinning websites using Drupal. So we want to make sure that all of our graduates have those skills. This is a capstone that was done by a student a year and a half ago. His name is David Book, an older student probably in his 40s who came back to school because he wanted to make sure he graduated before his two kids entered college. He was a self-taught programmer and had some success in designing apps for the car industry, mostly dealers, allowing them to manage their inventory and customer relations and things like that. While he was at CSUMB, he started this thing called BuzzTouch, which he ultimately did his capstone on. And BuzzTouch, you can go there sometime, buzztouch.com, is this very cool service that allows people without any programming skills whatsoever to design apps for either the Apple iOS or Android in about 15 or 20 minutes, you can have an app ready to go and up on either the iTunes store or the Android place. The cool news is that I got a call from David about 2 months ago. This is kind of public knowledge, but this is the public, so I'll share it. He was calling from the top floor of the Transamerica building, where he had just finished meeting with a group of investors who wanted to become part of BuzzTouch. They offered him, well, they told him his company is worth about $7 million, or this application is worth about $7 million, and they offered him a check for $3 million right then and there. So, can capstones lead to success? I think so. This software is being used by over 150,000 people throughout the world. This is the application, or the Google map that shows where it's being used. The last 500 places it's been downloaded. So one of the things that Dr. Tao wants me to talk about is where the web is going. So a couple things I want to talk about. The first one is, I think the obvious one is the web gets older. It's gone from a system which predominantly pushes content at people to one that most of the content is now being generated by the users who are using the websites. And one of the features that allows us web developers and web designers to really understand how people are using the websites is something called analytics. And this is an example of Google Analytics, which is a free service that Google provides that we used for a number of years at the Spy Museum. And what it allowed us to do is to see how exactly people were using the website. So when it came time to redesign the website, we could actually go back to the clients and say, you know that button up there that you think is so important? Well, no one's really clicking on it, okay? We don't need to put it way up on top where it's the most important thing. And this thing that you don't think is that important, well, people have been clicking on this a lot. Okay? So that should be featured more predominantly. We also can learn through analytics what types of browsers people are using. So when we discover that this design, for example, doesn't work that well in Internet Explorer, we can justify making a few changes because most of the users at this point were using Firefox and later Chrome and Safari. Facebook. How many of you still use Facebook? Okay. How many of you use MySpace? Okay, that's a big surprise. Guess who's recently invested a lot of money in MySpace? Justin Timberlake, right. And they're hoping that his celebrity power and ideas and connection to people under 30 is going to help bring MySpace back. We can now look at the history of the web and know that not a single website that has become galactic, and all present, and then kind of lost its shine, not a single one of those has come back. So if I were you, I would not bet much money on MySpace becoming what it used to be. Anyone think Justin Timberlake can do it? No? Okay. Okay. So the coolest thing about the web is HTML5 and CSS3, which is allowing web designers and developers to do things with type, do things with animation that we haven't been able to do in the past without using things like Flash, which were not really that user-friendly or ADA compliant. So HTML5 is really cool. And of course, everything that we're doing in the web design program is based on the most recent standards, including HTML5. This week, Lindsay, did you go to the Adobe thing? So Lindsay and a couple other people from CSUMB were at Adobe's presentation Monday in San Francisco on the next big thing. The next big thing is called Edge. And if you go to html.adobe.com, you can see a whole suite of tools that are being introduced as we speak that are really going to take HTML5 and push it in ways that we didn't think possible. And if you're into typography like I am, it's really, really exciting because we're going to be able to use much better type fonts and be able to do things with them that we've never been able to do before, so that's pretty cool. So while all these new tools are coming out, the biggest trend that I see, and we talk about this in the web design class a lot, is the majority of websites, large websites right now, are being produced in content management systems like our own CSUMB site. This is built in Drupal. And the problem with this is that unless a designer is involved in the process, someone who's able to kind of take it beyond that really boring template that most CMS systems provide, you get websites that all look the same. And I think that's the trend that we're seeing right now, is that most websites look a lot alike. So we really need some good designers out there to take these content management systems and put a designer's hand in them. Okay, so my advice, this is my 30th year teaching. So I think I know a few things. My first advice would be follow your passion. If you are not really passionate about what you're studying right now, find something else. Close your ears, Dr. Tom. If you are not really into what you're studying, find something that you are. And hopefully you can take that passion out into the professional world and apply it and get paid really well for what you love doing. Yes, you should work hard, but just as important as working hard, you should play often and play hard. Okay? And play in something that has nothing to do with what your work is about, if it's really important. Second bit of advice, take a nutrition class while you're here. Okay? Why is that funny? I took a nutrition class in college, and it was probably the one class that I still use every day. There were lots of classes that I took in college that I never even thought about since then, but this one class really has helped improve my life. Okay? Third advice, listen to National Public Radio. It will make you smarter. It will. Fourth? Yes?
What station is that on?
You want to be smarter, don't you? Good, okay. CSUMB has its own NPR station called Kazoo, 90.3. That was the test, right, to see if I actually listened to it? Okay, next bit of advice is get off campus and explore this area, especially if you're not from around here. We are blessed to live in one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and you should take advantage of that. And my last bit of advice is to think outside the box, especially the ITCD box. Take as many classes as you can that don't have CST in front of them. Okay. Take advantage of college while you're here. Learn as much as you can. Don't just focus on one thing. Any questions? So I have uploaded the new CDILP to the ITCD website last night. So if you all can access this. Do you want me to talk about how to fill it out or how it's doing? Okay. So you all know what the ILP is? Individual learning plan. One of the goals of this class is to get you to decide which emphasis or concentration you want to focus on, and then to go and meet with the advisor in charge of that program and to sit down and fill out the ILP. ILP is basically a contract between you and the university, especially the department. It says, by the time I graduate, I will have taken these things and I will have earned the Bachelor of Science degree. The ILP is an evolving form. So this is the 2012 one, which is different from the one that preceded it, and there will be a 2013 ILP coming out next year as well, which will have slightly different information on it. Since you can actually fill out any ILP relative to the time you came here, once you get it signed by the instructor, that's your contract. But you can also fill out or revise your ILP, go from a 2010 to a 2011, 2013, whatever, as long as it's signed by your advisor. Show of hands, how many CD majors in here? Wow. Okay. So there are 5 core classes or 5 core major learning outcomes that you need to satisfy. You're in the process of satisfying the communication MLO right now because you're in this class. But there are 4 other MLOs that you need to satisfy. You'll notice that most of these are 200 level classes. So you should be taking them soon, if not already. The first one is, or the second MLO is interaction design. This typically was satisfied by CST 201 media tools. Starting next spring, there's a new course that can also satisfy this MLO, which is CST 205, which will be taught by Kate Lockwood, probably. And this class we are recommending for the interaction design students, and not the visual design and not the web design students. So if you're web or visual design, you should stay with 201. But if you're going into interaction design, gaming, and things like that, then this might be a better class for you. You can still take 201 if you want, but there's now a new option. The digital design MLO is satisfied by either 328 digital art design or 351 the web design class. Depending on your emphasis, you should take one of them. So for example, if you are a visual design or a web design student, you should take 328 because 351 is actually required down here. You can't double dip. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Programming, choose between 221 or 231, and computing and networking between 236 and 337. If you don't know which one's the best class for you, definitely want to sit down with your advisor and talk about that. Also talk amongst your peers. Most people have taken some of these classes and give you some really good feedback as to which might be the best choice for you. Okay. I'm going to jump to the second page for a bit. You'll notice there are the three emphases are listed on the far left. And notice how it's broken down into two columns. Okay. This first column, these are classes you have to take if you're in that emphasis. Okay. The second column these are classes you can choose from to round out your program. Okay. So if we go back to the first page of the ILB, you'll notice that there are 5 spaces under emphasis. And in web design, for example, in that far left column, there are 4 classes that are listed that you have to take. So those 4 classes would be the first 4 that you would put in that area. Okay. And then there's 1 space left over and a second area called breadth. There you should choose from the classes in the right side of the column. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, thank you. Okay, and then finally, there are 2 other areas that you have to satisfy. Ethics. Ethics used to be a ULR for people who are still in the ULR system. So 373 would meet the ethics ULR. Ethics in the new GE system has been combined with the Income B area. So if you're brand new here and you need to satisfy that, you would take your ethics with one of the GE A2 classes that would include. However, every one of you still needs to take the ethics course, regardless if you're on the new GE system, because it is a department MOO. So you still have to satisfy that in addition to your GE classes. Ethics is taught every semester. There is some significant writing in the class. If you have questions about when's the right time to take ethics, come see me in my office hours and I can tell you, I can give you some advice on that. I would not personally recommend waiting to your last semester to take the ethics course because you'll be doing your capstone then, and it might be too much to have on your plate. Okay. The other course that you need to satisfy, the other MLO you need to satisfy is service learning, upper division service learning. Prior to spring 2013, you had 1 class that you could take, and that was Tech Tutors. Starting next semester, you can now satisfy your service learning requirement with a class called 461S, which is a 2-unit class that gets added on to a 400 level design course. So, for example, if you are a web design emphasis student, you can now satisfy your service learning by taking 461 at the same time you're taking 451, which is the advanced web design class. Okay, and there's a question?
Does that change only for CD or for CSIT readers as well?
CSIT, it's not 461, it's 462. And there are, I don't think there is a 400 level class for every concentration that is doing this. I know networking and security is doing it.
The 462 will work with any 400 level classes either on the CD side or the CSIT side.
No. 461 is for CD students. 462 is for CSIT students. Okay. But you can't just take 461 or 462 alone. You always have to take it with another 400 approved course. And that's something you should sit down and talk to your advisor with as soon as possible.
One of those courses you have, like courses, what's
question was, if I can rephrase the question, what will you be doing in 461, and how is it different from the Tech Tutors class? Can I add that to your question? So the 400 level design classes in CD are all going to be working on either a single or a couple real projects for nonprofit institutions in the local area. So, for example, last semester, the CST 451 web design class, web production class, redesigned the website for the Monterey County Rape Crisis Center. And we'll be doing working for a similar organization this spring. So that would be your service client. If you stayed in Tech Tutors, you would probably be working individually at either a school or something like the Boys and Girls Club, some other nonprofit where you'd be training them to use technology to improve their services. Any other questions on service learning? Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the capstone class. So we are in the process of implementing a new policy that says you can't start capstone until you've completed both your 304 level design courses. So if you're in this class and you're a junior, which is my assumption, you should be in your 300 level design class right now. And next semester you should take your 400 level design course. And then the following fall, you sign up for the first of the capstone classes. And the thinking there is that we don't want you doing capstone until you have the experience and skills and theory to go out and do a capstone well. Does that make sense? Okay. So make sure you take, if you're a CD major, make sure you take your 400 level design class your second semester of your junior year. Question?
So for the 461S, if I take that, does it have to be with like the emphasis 400 level class? Like say I'm a visual design major.
That's a good question. I don't think we've answered it.
The recommendation is that if you have a visual design emphasis, the best class is 404 plus 461, but it's not required. You can take any 400 level classes in CD in conjunction with the certificate.
The other new bit of policy, it's not really policy, but it's something else that's new this year, is that now service learning, you can now take it for an additional 4 units. And that applies to 404, and what's the interactive media? 421. 421. Jeremy?
Does that apply to 438 as well? For CST?
You shouldn't be asking the CD coordinator.
He's not exempt, so I'm good.
That's correct. Yes. Okay. Any questions about the ILP?
Well, so I originally did mine for since you didn't put the 2012 up until last night, I did the older ILP, and under the emphasis, they still had digital animation, which is what I was planning on doing, but now do they no longer have that since it's just interactive media?
We used to have 4 emphases, and because of low enrollment in digital animation, it was put to sleep, so to speak, by the administration. It wasn't an internal choice, it was a choice made up above.
Okay.
So if you want to go into digital animation, you're steering in interactive media, and if you consult with Pat Watson, he can help customize your ILP, give you the kinds of things you need and would have gotten and related pieces. Okay. Other questions? Is my half hour up?
35 minutes, but that's fine. Okay.
My office is room 184 in building 18. And I'm on campus every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays this semester. Pretty much all day, Monday and Wednesday, and Fridays from about 9 until around 2. I'm pretty easy to track down.
Logging to chmd.edu process, you will see this document. You should be able to edit it. So let me see. I have a nice voice of Tara. Can you read the instruction for us? Just read it.
Each team will propose 3 topics related to any information technology and communication design trends, technology issues. Each team greater than 4 people is required to produce 8 to 10 minutes in-person presentation and a YouTube video on the subject. Make it fun and interesting, please. All other students will vote to select one from the 3. Enter your topic here.
So the idea is that your team will take, well, we'll allow you to change it because we're not going to go until next time. But I want to take the next 5 minutes, your team will come together and decide 3 topics you guys would like to do analysis or research and present. But we want the topic to benefit the class. So next time we come, we'll put a quick vote. You can vote which of the 3 you would like that team to present. So what I want to do is, well, first I want to try how good is the Google. So far we have 36 and seems to be running fine. Okay. So team 1, their name is called Hell Yeah. That's a good name. So put 3 topics you guys want to research into that hopefully will help in some way into your study. Please don't put anything embarrassing there. So something that relates to your career, something related to your interests, something related to your study. So you will have 2 projects. One is more kind of academic, present here. I'm going to grade and I will have other team give you a feedback. The other one, I want to make it interesting and engaging. Doesn't have to be, I'm going to shut down that. Exactly. That's it. So the YouTube. Obviously, you are a lot more interesting in yourself than me. Okay, so the YouTube, we're going to produce it a week before semester ends. Okay, if you produce something meaningful, you will pass this class with a good grade. But if you want that kind of A+ in the YouTube, I'm going to see how many people click on it, watch it for the that 1 week, the week before the end of the semester, and I think December 15th is the very end. So during that week, I'm going to, we have about 16 teams that are going to give half of you some kind of extra point if your click is more than the other half. Okay, so the upper half will get extra. So make it interesting, make it short, right? If you make like 20 minutes, no one will watch it. If you make it too short, then probably doesn't make sense. I would say, what's the kind of typical format in terms of length on the YouTube? Yeah, 2-3 minutes, right? So can you introduce that subject in 2-3, maybe no more than 5? Make it interesting. You want to put it on the board and do some kind of quick animation. You want to have 2 actors kind of debate. You want to, I don't know, you want to make the title very enticing so people will be tricked to watch it. I want you to experience that. It's a cultural phenomenon of our time. So that's the nature of your final presentation. It carry a lot of point in this class. So you want to work together well. You want to collaborate. You want to produce that presentation here, and you want to put that YouTube. If your team happen to be so small, less than 4 or lower, you will choose one format, either face-to-face or online. If you have 5, including 5 or more, you need to produce both. Is that clear? So let's take 5 minutes before Dr. Byung joins us. 6 minutes. We'll come back at 1:20 and talk to your team and decide what are the 3 we're going to vote next Thursday. Okay, let's take a break. So let's welcome Dr. Yang Byung.
Wow, there are many students. So, you know what? I didn't know the classroom. So I went to the our building, 118, and nobody was there. So I thought, oh, I'm very lucky. Is this lucky or not? Anyway, yeah, this is the funniest guy in the department. I mean, here, let me introduce myself. Oh, honestly, this is my first teaching in the library, so everything seems like very, very unusual. So I believe I have about 20 minutes for the introduce myself, and my understanding is let's talk about the computer science program, especially software engineering concentration. And I know, I think, yeah, I saw many of you guys, no, only a few. We have new students a lot, right? Many
a lot of new, yep.
Yeah, transfer students. Now, this is my background. Okay, this is my background. I received my PhD degree in computer science in the University of Florida. Have you been there, Florida? Yeah. Can you guess? Wow, that's a really nice place, right? Florida, like Disney World, and that was a really cool place. Not cool, it's a very hot place. And let me introduce myself a little bit. Originally, I came from South Korea, and I received my bachelor degree in computer engineering, and then I received my computer science master degree in. I think this is one of the best in the world, actually. Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. This is a really good university. After that, I worked for a research company like AT&T Bell Lab is really good research company, right? I mean, this is world best. Not like that, but a similar one in Korea Telecommunication Research Center. So I worked there for 5.5 years. Okay, so over there I developed several software tools. After that, okay, I decided, okay, I want to study, and I hope I wanted to be a professor, actually. So because of that, I came here, University of Florida, and I studied hard, of course, and then I got my PhD degree. Then, you know what, my first job actually is not here, CSUMB. Actually, my first job was in Pennsylvania. So have you been there, Pennsylvania? Actually, Pennsylvania is pretty big, right? It's not big like California, but it's big. But my university was it's a Canadian board, actually. It's a very cold area. Have you heard about the snow belt? Have you heard about that snow belt? You know the lake, right? The lake area. So the thing is, there are many lakes, very big lakes, and during the winter, cold wind come from what? Canada. So typically, water is what? Cold or hot compared to the land? It is not cold. I mean, not hot, of course. So because of that, cold wind become snow. So this is what? A lot of tons of snow on my area. So when I when I study in Florida, I didn't see any snow at all, never ever, right? But when I go there, I saw first snow in November. So okay, so everybody like first snow, wow, snow. But what happened is November, okay, snow, okay, that's very good. December, of course, it's winter, right? January, a lot of snow. What do you think about the February?
Snow.
Still snow. Okay. How about the March?
Snow.
Melting.
April. No, it's snow. I'm not joking. April, school was closed because of snow. It's not usual, of course, but snow. And I saw last snow May 2nd. 2 weeks later, it was a summer break. Wow. Okay, I decided to move because if you like to ski a lot, that's a really good place. But now,
And shovel your driveways.
wow, yeah. Now, so that's my background. So I came here about 6 years ago, and I joined the computer science program. And my teaching experience is pretty much software development. So if you are the CD major, hey, how many CD major students? Okay, how about computer science? Oh, majority, I think, computer science, right? Yes, I think. Okay.
About 60% computer science.
Yeah, even your background is CD. I'm a software developer, software side professor. So pretty much I taught all types of language, C++, data structure, software design, algorithm, computer architecture, and software engineering. So that is my teaching experience. So now, I have involved many real project, I mean industrial project. So let me introduce 3 things. First one, this is ongoing project. California wireless coverage bandwidth. Do you have a smartphone? For example, yeah, thank you. If you have a smartphone, you probably, this is what? Which carrier? AT&T, okay. So probably if you go to the new place, if you use AT&T, you're probably wondering how good bandwidth this phone provide. Do you have that kind of question? Yes? No? Okay, that is my current project. The idea is we develop software. Okay? Software, I mean the app, Android app. Then install it, and then I go to the any location, specific location, and I click button. Then it shows what? Bandwidth, meaning, upload speed and download speed. Like, your upload speed is 1 mega per sec, or your download speed is 3 mega. Okay, it's acceptable, cool. But go to my mom's house and measure it. It's only 10K or 30K. Okay, that kind of stuff. That is my current project. And actually, we sent 8 real testers like you, not like a student and somebody going outside throughout the whole state of California. So we measured 1,200 different locations speed. Okay, so that is first project, and we have several students who are working for this project as well. Second one was, it is actually, you know what? Second one is last year project with NPS. You know the NPS, right? NPS basically what? Military, Naval Postgraduate School. So Naval like military related. So they're correct. So the idea is like this: soldier could have, for example, if you go to their field, there is no well-developed infrastructure for their communication. I mean, in here we have several telecommunication switching system. This is already well-developed, so we don't have any problem, right? But if soldiers go to the desert, there is no infrastructure, correct? In that situation, they wanna communicate each other. So that is what P2P communication on ad hoc network. Ad hoc networking means what? No infrastructure. How can I P2P, person peer-to-peer communication? That was last year project. And hey, here this is a very very long time ago. I developed compiler and debugger. Do you know compiler? How many of you guys know compiler? Okay, among CD students. Okay, you know the compiler. So I developed real compiler. Okay, so it was really challenging and one of the very difficult software compiler. It's very hard. So, any question? This is.
Jim? Yeah. When we talked about infrastructures and like soldiers not being able to communicate in the middle of the desert somewhere, is anyone working on using those remote control? What are those?
Oh yeah, they have their military communication system, right? But in this case, new generation soldier wanna use Android phone. I mean the smartphone. In that case, how can they communicate each other?
Can a plane, a remote control, remote control planes move around, or does it have to be stable?
No, it's a movie. They
can move, right?
Yeah, move.
So it can move around.
Yes, the basic idea is many people go together, and then they become a kind of, the phone itself could be antenna. Okay. So one person is over there, and in the middle guy just become a transceiver, and then another guy can talk each other.
I was thinking those remote control planes.
Remote control, why?
Talking about drones.
Drones, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could use those in such a manner.
But in our case, our goal was using new generation soldier has smartphone, and then they want to talk each other, but not just the two people. There are a bunch of people going outside. So how can, in the middle guy can help for the transfer? So this guy become a kind of. Here, I taught several courses like 231, 238, 338, 438, 370, 336, those kind of courses. I thought about these courses, and do you have any courses you will take? And okay, let me talk this way. Did you many of you guys already took 231, right? How about 238? 238. If you didn't take 238, this is my explanation. 231 is like foundation. Okay, so you don't know anything about the programming. You don't know anything about what is computer. Is this something to eat? No. In that level, 231 is what? Foundation. Okay, this is a starting point. Now, 238, I will say this is advanced programming. Okay, I know the fundamental stuff, but I need more advanced skill. Okay, so this is gonna be 238. So I believe 2 courses are not enough, but I think 2 courses are good, strong foundation for the further step. 231 and 238. So on top of there, you will learn different courses. for example, 3038. 3038 is a software design class. Okay, so in this class, I will teach web programming, but not web programming, smart Android app development. Okay, so you will learn that subject. Another one is, for example, 438. You already have 2 foundation courses. And then 438 is software engineering. So software engineering is what? Oh, okay, I know the programming stuff already. Then what happens if I want to make a team and develop big program? So we will teach what? Some software engineering skill. Make sense? Another one, for example, 336. 336 is internet program. Okay, I have foundation, and then I want to develop. This is internet programming. So web construction. So can you figure it out in your mind like what? Oh, CST program, there are 2 foundation course, and then go, and then knowledge. Make sense?
What languages do you focus on when you teach these courses? Java, C++?
Okay, that's a very good question. Actually, 231 and 238 is starting C++. And then for the another class, 338, we will cover Java. Okay, internet programming, PHP and MySQL. 438, I think it should be language independent. Right? Language because you already know. Any other question? Mm-hmm.
I think it's 370 and 338. Would you recommend those taking them at the same time when they're only offered at the same time?
Yes, that's not a problem at all. So you already took 2 courses, right? What is 370? 370 is algorithm class. Algorithm class is a little bit different from programming. How you are able to solve a problem. How can I say? Okay, do you know sorting? Sorting? Okay, I have one student score. I wanna make what? Who is first score and who is next and next. We call it sorting, right? So in the programming class, you learn only 1 or 2 approaches. But there are tons of different approaches depending on situations. So algorithm class teach different sorting approaches. Yeah, and you can take those at the same time. And hey, you know what? I want to talk about this. I prepared one thing for you. This is, I think you probably wondering what kind of language you need to get job or popularity of programming language. This is similar like what? Which language is most popular in the world? Which language? English? In terms of number of speakers?
Chinese.
I think it's definitely Chinese, right? Next one is?
Indian?
Wait. Spanish?
No, it's from India.
India use English?
Yes.
Yeah.
English, but not, it's official. Is this
Yeah, but they
official?
have so many.
Yeah, so I would say Chinese and English and Spanish, probably, right? So if you are able to, is there anyone who can speak all 3 languages?
I speak 5, but
It's 5? Kidding me. So if you are able to speak 3 different major languages, yes, your life will be very, very good, right? Similar. If you know the many different programming language, it's good for you to get some kind of chance. So that is the current status. Number 1 is still C language, but you know the C++. So this is like cousin. It's very easy, piece of cake, okay? Next one is Java, yeah. 338, you will learn. Next one, object Objective-C. Oh, no. What? Do you know what is Objective-C?
It's a programming language that the iOS uses.
Yeah, Apple, right? So these days, Objective-C is very going up. So I'm thinking, you know what? Objective-C, probably I will cover Objective-C in 3038 as well. But that course, you don't have any chance. But we teach what C++, and the C# is actually cousin of Java. Okay? This is Microsoft version of Java, C#. So I think that's fine. And PHP. So you can learn many languages and Python as well. Dr. K. Lau will teach Python online class. Okay, so which one you don't have a chance? Objective-C probably. So I will cover.
Is Objective-C related to C?
Yeah, it's a C-based, but C-based object language. So it's not like object-oriented. Yeah, it's a C-based, C-based, but it's more object.
Because a lot of people get confused. They think, for instance, JavaScript has something to do with Java, and they're like completely different.
Yeah, Objective-C, I will say it's a little bit different. Syntax is C, but it's very different language. I think I have only 1 minute, right? So, say, hey, you know what? Just one thing. You are very lucky if you are able to graduate. I think here, top jobs and career trend. Hey, can you guess what is number 1?
Software.
Oh, there is. Come on. Number 1 is what? Can you read? I cannot see. Bigger? Computer programmer. And number 2, daycare provider. Number 3, hey, here. Number 4, no, where is? Oh, somebody change it. Management consultant. Yeah, here. Number 8, networking specialist.
Wow.
Yeah, I think something wrong here. I find out more than 4 jobs are related to the computer science. Okay, so this is very easy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. Thank you.